Hey, good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to another edition of Dojo Live. I am Tulio Siragusa, broadcasting from Los Angeles. I'm joined by my co-hosts today, Kim Lantis in Hermosillo, Mexico, and Carlos Ponce in Mexico City. And today we have our guest, Dirk Schmitt. He's the founder and CEO of BizzTech, and Dirk is actually logging in from the Canary Islands. How cool is that? So, Dirk, we're going to talk today about virtual business events. Obviously, very, very timely topic for what's going on today with everybody being at home and limitations in terms of people being able to meet in person. So we're interested in talking about that topic and seeing what your company is doing along there. But first, let's start with you introducing yourself. Tell us a little bit about Dirk.
Thank you, Tulio. Yeah, nice to be here. Thanks a lot for inviting me. I'm Dirk Schmitt. I was born in Hamburg in Germany, and I'm based now in Spain and the Canary Islands and Tenerife, to be exact. I'm, let's say, a lifetime or lifelong learner, lifelong entrepreneur, and I founded multiple companies in various countries, industries, and verticals. So that fixed me in Europe. So I've been active in 4 different European countries. And after 7 years in Bulgaria, I decided to relax a bit and to settle down. And I decided Tenerife would be a good place to don't start a business. The plan didn't work, like you can see now. So that's the actual situation.
Very cool. Well, tell us a bit about BizzTech. What's the business all about? How did that come to be? What gave birth to this idea? Tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah, BizzTech, we organize online business matchmaking events, or we try to help event organizers to transform their physical events into virtual events with a focus on matchmaking. And we released our matchmaking platform some months ago. Have around 2,500 users actually, and these are mostly we call them deal makers or decision makers or C-level executive, however you want.
Great. I love how you're referring to matchmaking. That's typically a term that's often used with dating. But it's very appropriate even in the business, because ultimately businesses are looking for partners, and matchmaking is very appropriate. So, Kim, what's the topic for today? Let's kick this off. I'm looking forward to learning some more.
Yeah, thank you. Nice to meet you, Dirk. So today, your topic of choice, your title is Virtual Business Events for Companies in Emerging Tech. And you're wanting to talk about the new normal to conduct business online. Now, of course, with what's happening in the world right now with COVID-19 and a lot of quarantines, I think this new normal arrived to us a bit sooner than you may have anticipated, or anyone may have anticipated. But what can we talk about in this way to conduct business online, and particularly what's kind of been revealed, if anything new, over these last few weeks and months?
Thank you, Kim. Yeah, Tulio, you're right. Sometimes we make the joke we are the Tinder for business, but apart from that, honestly, the actual situation, and let's hope that this will change soon. Is not our motivation. We have been a leader in organizing virtual events since for 2 years. So we are not riding on this wave of coronavirus. It's, of course, it is a game changer for the event industry. That's true. It's a changer of the mindset of the people. So to do business online today is the new normal. Honestly, the 2 years before we did really pioneer work, and you cannot believe how often I heard, "Hey, Dirk, I prefer to shake hands." We don't hear it anymore.
So what was the foundation, let's talk about 2 years ago up until now? I think of what we're living right now, this idea of virtual gathering it resonates very clearly with people. A lot of people are scrambling to make that happen. And I think we can talk about a little later on solutions to that to help people in the here and now. But what was the foundation for this 2 years ago? What brought up this idea? What was this sort of aha moment for you in BizzTech?
I'm personally not a techie, but I love new technologies since a long time. So I try to follow the procedure, and once I as somebody who traveled sometimes I think even too much in my life for business, I thought there must be a easier way to do business, we thought in our team that to do business online, it's easy, it's time and money efficient, and you have a global reach. So of course you can go to the big live events and to try to find the right people there, and that's a cool thing. I love these events. That's not the point, but it's hard. First, it's really hard if you have thousands of people, maybe to find the right person and agree a meeting. That's a hard job. And on the other side, the young startups who are often the front leaders in tech, you don't find them there because you cannot meet them there. They simply cannot manage to $5,000 or $10,000 to make the trip.
You know, it got me thinking about something. That's an interesting point. Certainly opens up the doors to a lot more people without the need to have to travel and take away time from their work schedule. Even you have a huge budget, because the travel budget in itself sometimes is cost prohibitive. But it made me think, like, have you guys done any studies or comparison in terms of the participants for these virtual events, right? If I go to a conference to learn, to network with my peers, I'm always going to be faced with also an army of salespeople that are there for networking for different purposes. They want to get business out of you, right? So you're always dealing with people who are either visiting your booth that are trying to pitch you something, or it's not always people in the same mindset as you or trying to learn from their peers, right? So I'm curious, you obviously can't do that in a virtual event. Are you seeing the participation be more lasered in terms of people that are actually there to learn and network with their peers, and less participation from those who might just be there, canvassing for business? What's been your experience ever since you put this together?
Thanks for this question. That remembers me our first months, or even first 7.5 years in this business. Our team together does maybe more than 100 conversations daily, and the first year we started, people answered us, for what should I attend in a virtual event? I have LinkedIn, I have Skype, I don't need you. And honestly, I prefer to meet my business partners physical. Yes, I also love to take coffee and beer together with my business partners and shake hands. The problem is, especially in emerging tech, and BizzTech is focused on the new technologies, that the procedure is so fast already that to meet physical and to travel every time and to search for the right hotel and the right event, things like that, takes so much time. So I remember a conversation with the director of one of the biggest crypto exchange platforms, and he said to me once, Dirk, last year I visited more than 55 events, and I already hate my life. So that's honestly, that's our main motivation.
Okay, so it's really a time saver. It's smart use of your time and budgets. Who are you targeting for these kinds of events? What kind of events could we foresee happening, especially now since the demand for this kind of environment has grown? You know, obviously there's been a major disruption to the physical event space that's been forced on everyone. So in the past few years, where have you seen traction and where are you seeing things going now?
If we organize own events, I have to make a little bit of curve now. That's our main marketing tool. So in our own events, we showcase what's possible and what we can offer, and there we mostly invite deal makers. I don't love these words as much, but it describes it well. Who are focused on doing business. So also our platform is focused on doing business. There's honestly no social aspect, so you cannot post about your last weekend or something like that. So people come together on our events to do business and pre-scheduled video calls. So this is our audience. Like I mentioned, our own events are our biggest marketing tool, where we showcase what's possible. And but our audience is they are multiple event organizers, business organizations, clusters, and bigger companies.
Dirk, I got a question for you. Obviously you mentioned, and it's right there on your website, that you're focused on emerging techs, right? Emerging tech companies. And so I'm kind of wondering if there's like a specific reason why you're just focusing on emerging techs, or would you say that we can do this? We can use BizzTech for brick and mortar type of organizations that might have a digital marketing department, and they're trying to find sort of a second life or a Sims type of environment to conduct business. So what is the case here? And I would like your opinion on that.
Thanks for your question, Carlos. When we started the idea, and like I mentioned before, we have my partner Rosie and we have a strong affinity to new technologies. So the first motivation was really to think about the procedure in these technologies is every year it seems faster. So you need in a very efficient way to find, to match, and meet the right people, because to create an innovative product and go fast to the market, you need to do a lot of crossovers already. Just to act in one sector of the tech is difficult. So gaming is a perfect example for that.
Mm-hmm. So I'm curious, this idea of using BizzTech to sort of streamline and let's get to business, literally, right? To kind of hone in on communicating and meeting the people that you're really interested in meeting without having to go through all the fluff, perhaps, of a physical conference. But what can you do, or what do you do? How do you address those issues, like shaking hands? How does BizzTech simulate this person-to-person element? Because I think when doing business, this element of clicking, right, connecting with people, I think is really what helps seal that deal. Foundations of trust, and I don't know, all of these things that can happen in a physical arena that might not happen in a digital one. But how can you capitalize on that? How do you simulate that as best as possible?
This is actually our since some months our daily discussion in the team. how we can cover all elements of a physical event in a virtual one. And you're right, Kim. Actually, with our matchmaking platform, even when we or also our customers implement a lot of shows like roundtable discussions or workshops, things like that, you can still not cover all the experiences of a trade show, for example. And this is why we, some 3 months ago, we started a new project called the Event World, and where we want to create, or we are creating a 3D world, which is interactive, and the goal, the aim is really to have the same experiences like on a physical or live trade show. Online is also live, so we try to use physical, up to meet in a bar.
So curious, in a real live event, physical event, let's call it physical event, okay? There are things like the speed dating events where you get to network for a couple of minutes or 5 minutes with different companies. You sign up in advance. That's super useful for networking purposes, right? How do you emulate? How do you create that in your platform? Is that something that you offer? Walk us through some of the benefits, if you will, and that, again, what Kim was saying, that as best as possible, replicate some of the experience people are used to. Can you give us some examples of how that works and in a virtual environment?
I believe there are two aspects of a business event. The most important, from my point of view, is to meet the right people and try to do business with them. The other one is to the exchange of information. For example, in roundtable discussions or product presentations. However, we make a little bit different between networking and matchmaking. So networking is more like you described it. For example, speed dating. Matchmaking is a kind of networking, but it's more specific. So to get back to your question, on our platform, we try to enable all attendees or community members to get a deep insight of what the other is offering and looking for. And this enables our participants to match the right person and send meeting requests and finally meet in video calls to do business.
Do you ever incorporate any, or have you thought about incorporating any sort of 4-dimensional elements? I mean, is there this coordination of sample products, or perhaps everybody's wearing the same T-shirt, or we're all gonna pop open the same bottle of wine and drink, at the end of our deal together, or anything like that?
Interesting, Kim. No, honestly, we didn't think about that. Still now, very interesting.
You heard it here
Kim,
first.
you've got a future in corporate event planning. That's like a brilliant idea,
Yeah,
my commission's cheap, Dirk.
It's noted.
Well, I think that could actually be fun. And certainly still more cost effective than doing the real thing, all together in one physical place. Sort of like an event kit that a box arrives in the mail a couple days prior, and everybody's got their gear. And I think that could be a really fun way to simulate community and belonging and a oneness, I think.
Definitely.
Yeah, that's actually a great idea. I saw, I think last week, there was some chef and a few celebrities were putting together this curated dinner at your home. And part of the cost of the ticket, you would get your stuff shipped to you that you can prepare, and the wine. And I guess it was a big video conference where everybody was having this virtual dinner and sharing the same meal and wine or what have you. So I think that's a great point you make, Kim. And in terms of how can an organization make virtual networking, virtual conferences fun, right? Let's not forget, part of going to a conference is also the fun that you have in networking with people, in meeting them at the lounge. I mean, there's definitely a fun element to it, which is why people go, right? Some people, it's like the only time of the year they get to go do that. So how do you replicate that now? Have you guys thought about creating something that allows that sort of symbiotic feeling that you would get in person? Can you give us some examples of maybe some companies that have or conferences where they've pulled off something that felt intimate to the participants?
Yes, like I mentioned before, our actual matchmaking platform is really just focused on doing business, and there are no elements like that. But in the new project, we exactly try to cover also these social aspects. So you will be able to create your avatar. You will be able to walk. You can imagine it like a game, a serious game, and the game is a trade show. So you walk through, you can interact with others, you can behave like you want to behave, and yeah, like in real world.
I think that's very fun.
You mentioned, I'm sorry, Tulio, just one quick thing.
Yeah, Carl.
Again, I'm looking at the landing page for today's conversation, and you mentioned as part of the tagline is the new normal to conduct business online. Okay, so that's like the phrase that we're using for today. Do you expect it to be like the new normal in a different way now before pre-COVID days? So is it something that's going to like stick around for a long while? So what's going to happen to it? Why? What are your expectations in terms of this being the new normal to conduct business online?
I love this aspect, Carlos. Honestly, I every time was sure that we will change our way to do business and maybe also our way to live. We have a much bigger problem in this earth, and this called climate situation. So that's a bigger problem than coronavirus. Coronavirus, we will hopefully find solutions during the next months or 2 years. But for the climate situation is really a serious challenge, and I mean. To get back to the actual situation of COVID-19, this was just a wake-up call for something what was necessary, that we really think about. Is it really necessary every time to travel? Is it necessary to use my car to go to work, or can I do the same from home? Is it necessary for board meeting to meet physical? I mean, no. That we have all the tools, and if we don't have them now, we will have them very, very in the very close future. So there are so many possibilities already to cover these things. And I mean, to get back, short answer. The actual situation of coronavirus is just a wake-up call for something what was necessary.
I mean, you make an interesting point. There have been reports that a lot of people are realizing the lack of a need for big buildings for everybody to work in the same space. The whole concept of having to commute and fight through all that every morning and every evening. I think a lot of people are going to come out of this saying, why am I doing all that? And there's also a challenge as economies start to open in bigger cities where commuting is only via mass transit, where there's, you're in close proximity to people. going by car is not necessarily going to be an option. I can't imagine New Yorkers going to work with their cars in Manhattan. Most of them don't have cars. So I think you're onto something here in the sense that perhaps the way we do things will permanently change, at least for a period of time. And so, these kinds of technologies and platforms that facilitate people getting together, conducting business, getting access to peer information, building a solution for people to still connect all over the world is certainly very appropriate. We're coming up on time. You guys have any additional questions? Otherwise, I wanted to kind of kick it into understanding what Dirk's journey has been as an entrepreneur in building this and what he sees in the near future. You guys have any other questions?
I'm good, Tulio. Thanks. Appreciate it.
Great. So, Dirk, would love to kind of get your insights, words of wisdom, if you will, for other entrepreneurs. What this journey has been like for you. What have some of the things you've learned about yourself along the process, and what are things that you're looking forward to?
Good question. I did really different things in my life. I'm very thankful for that journey till now. When we started BizzTech, we said from the beginning that's also a challenge for us personally. We want to create this company and also the next project, Event World, without any physical handshake. We honestly, I traveled so much in my life, mostly within Europe, and I get so tired around 10 years ago that I said, no, I have to settle down. That's enough. And I'm so happy that I found something where I can, where I can help people to come together without traveling.
Well, Dirk, it's been great to have you on the show today, and we certainly want to check in with you and a little down the line and hear about how things have been progressing for you and what you're learning as the world has changed and goes through this. We're still going through this challenge, so definitely want to hear back from you at that point. Carlos, what do we got coming up next? I know Monday we have the recap show. We don't have a show tomorrow, I don't believe. But
No.
What do we got next week?
No, Tulio, unfortunately, like I said, we're not going to have a show tomorrow. It was canceled. But next week, we're going to be speaking with the challenges of with the company called Voks, VOKS. And this is a digital book video streaming for children. So it's basically children entertainment for children's entertainment, right? That can be streamed through a digital platform. And we're going to be speaking with Shannon Becks and Russell Herzl from Voks.com. So we're looking forward to that. And same here, right here on Dojo Live, 1 p.m. Pacific, as ever.
I'm looking forward to that. Anyone who's got children knows that working from home is like a full-time job, just entertaining them.
Absolutely.
So any tools that are out there will be awesome. So if you're a parent, definitely tune in for that show. If you're not a parent, tune in for that show because you might need it sometime in the near future.
Yeah,
especially with all the quarantine. So Dirk, thanks for joining us. Thanks for joining us today, guys. And until next time, have a great rest of your week and be safe, everyone.
Thank you, everyone. Talk to you
Thank
soon.
you so much for inviting me. It was a great pleasure, guys.
Thank you.
Cheers.
Thank you.